Okay folks, so it's been about a year since I set up the 210 and I thought I'd give you guys an update. So this is 1 year with the 210. My trials and tribulations. It hasn't been bad. But you'll see that in a minute. Hey YouTube, this is Pecktec, and yes, it's been about a year since I set up this aquarium. And I've had a lot of fun with it. It's been overall a very easy aquarium to keep up and stuff. There's been some, kind of unique things that I've had to do to take care of this. I guess the number one thing would be doing water changes. And with an aquarium like this, normally I would bring a python over and I'd suck it out. Well, what I've found is pretty good. It's not quite as much suction, but it's pretty good, is I just use gravity. So I'll start a siphon here and I just kind of lead the hose out to the yard and just drain it out into the yard. I've got a tree that's kind of downhill from here, and I think it's probably benefited quite a bit from the fish water that I drain out of here. Then of course when all that's done, I reattach the python and I fill it up the way I fill up all the other ones by adding the chlorinator and the water from the tank just right into the tank. So one thing that's happened with this tank that I don't see in a lot of my other tanks is I started getting cyanobacteria. I've had that once before, and I've got a video called ChemiClean versus cyanobacteria, and I actually still had that jar of ChemiClean left. So I went on their website and I kind of refamiliarized myself with the instructions, and I did a treatment actually last night. And I gotta say the difference between yesterday and today, I should have filmed it. I did not film the cyanobacteria the way it was before. I was disgusted by it, and I was like, well, maybe the ChemiClean will work, and maybe it won't. But I gotta tell you, overnight, I mean, you can still see you can still see a little faint green tinge on the wood in certain areas and stuff, but it is like nowhere near what it was yesterday. Like that was a solid patch of blue-green cyanobacteria yesterday, and today it's nothing. It's almost gone. All the fish seem unaffected. I don't see a lot of trauma from the plants, but you're supposed to do like a 20% water change the next day after you do a treatment for cyanobacteria. So that's what I'm going to do now. Oh, if you're interested, ChemiClean comes in a little tiny bottle like this. This is a powder, and it's got like a little bitty spoon. Did I defeat the ancient cyanobacteria again? So you do like a level scoop for every 10 gallons of aquarium water, and I just added 10 more gallons for the sump, just for water volume. None of the fish seem traumatized. Everything seems pretty chill in there right now. The other thing I've got to do today is add some plants, and these plants that you cannot see because I'm about to spill water on the floor. Those plants that are in the bucket are actually plants from my tanks upstairs. I had to trim out a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of plants kind of getting out of control. So I trimmed out a bunch of stuff and I brought it down here. Unfortunately, what I'm finding with the cichlids here is they like to chew on plants. And I gotta tell you, if I had to pick an aquarium plant to try and eat, it would probably be a sword plant, because for some reason my fish find them delicious. But when I first set this up, I was like, I don't want like a jungle tank kind of like this. I just want plants in kind of certain areas. And I kind of did things a certain way, but that hasn't worked out too well because they tend to chew on any new growth that they find. So I need stuff that like grows very aggressively to even make it past, some of the nibblers. The good thing is I don't plan on adding more fish to this tank. So if I could just give them enough stuff to nibble on and also some stuff to grow, I think I can make this work. But I'm going to change my plants around a little bit from what I've been using before. I've already started adding this leopard val. I think it's called leopard val. I've been growing it in the 55 upstairs. I've added it to one side. I'm going to add it probably sporadically all through here and just let it go. I've got this other plant that grows in the 56-gallon column upstairs too, and I, a long time ago, forgot exactly what the species of this is. It's a type of crypt, I think, and it grows like crazy. This one's really hard to stop, But the tallest I've seen it's been about, probably about this tall. So that could be a nice thing to just kind of fill it all in there and really make this a jungly tank, which is something I really like to see in here. I'd really like to get it, pretty jungly, pretty thick, where plants do a lot of the filtering. The filter underneath there is doing really great. I actually did an interview with Custom Aquariums, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. Talking all about the filter system, the seamless sump. It's really easy to use. There's a lot of utility in being able to kind of get in there and mess with things without having to get into your aquarium proper. This aquarium is really, really tranquil. It's really a lot of fun to sit in front of. Of course, right now I've got the bigger Kessel right in the middle. I'm going to change that, but I'm saving up to buy just 2 more. So, because I don't, I thought about just buying 1 more. Like 1 month I'll get one here, and then the next month I'll get one here. But I think what I'm going to do is wait a couple of months, or until I can't take it anymore, and I'm going to buy 2 more of these things and make the light even across the board. One problem I find I'm having now with it like this is that I'm getting a lot of algae, and I wish I could tone it down, but because they're on a controller, they're all kind of like 100%, they're on by percent. The only way I'm really going to be able to control them overall without making it too dim on the sides is to lower the overall percentage of brightness. I could also take the controller off and just kind of manually set everything and then put it on a standard timer, but that would be 3 timers. Or maybe 1 timer and an extension cord or something complicated like that. A little bit of extra algae isn't a big deal. And what I did is I just kind of shortened the cycle by maybe half an hour or so, and it's compensated for that a lot. But these guys, the blue Ancaras and the parrot, are real chewy. They love chewing on these plants, so it's been quite difficult to really get really thriving plants out of this. The jungle val that was in here seemed to be doing okay, but it just got too long. Once it hit about 9 feet long, I decided just to pull it out. And well, what was happening, it was growing up on this far side here, and then those fronds were just going all the way across almost to here, and just blocking the light from everything that's underneath. I am having moderate success with a couple of plants in here. There's some Cryptwindetti in here, and it seems to be able to outgrow the parts that get chewed on. And I've got a sword here that's like, it's not looking great, but it's kind of holding its own, and it seems to be doing okay. And I see all kinds of new leaves coming up from it, so I guess it's got a good nutrient source at its core, and it's able to kind of deal with being pecked on all the time. As far as what I feed the fish in here, it's kind of a wide variety of different things. I have to do some sinking pellets for the Bysure, Mr. Tubes, when he comes out. He stays under this log pretty much all the way through the day, and then he comes out at night and he'll swim around, or in the evening. Sometimes when the lights get real dim, you can see him swimming around. I do a lot of frozen food too. I like to buy these like variety pack frozen foods, and I'll just pick 2 random ones out of there and chuck them in. They seem to enjoy that too. As far as aggression goes, the parrotfish is sort of the king of the tank, and I will see him spar with the Ancaras just all the time. Like sometimes they're the top dog, sometimes he's the top dog, or fish, sorry. But it never goes too far, it never gets to the point where it's like really, really stressful. And for the most part, they kind of pick their territories, they work it out, and then they leave each other alone for a while. One thing I bought to try and fix maybe like 3 of those problems I listed, the cyanobacteria, the aggression, and also eating on my plants, was a power head. It's one of the more powerful C-shaped power heads. It's magnetically attached, and I've just got it right up here in the back, blowing straight across. It's a bit more powerful than I anticipated, and I unintentionally kind of cut a big divot into my substrate because I kind of pointed it right straight down across this path where the plants are. Right here in front, I've got these sword plants, and I think that they would probably live and do good, but they get nibbled on by Snapple here. The same kind of goes for these crypts here, although they're doing better. And any other plants that have been right along through here, they tend to want to just go along and nibble at them, especially after food comes out. I don't know if they don't get enough to eat, or there needs to be more vegetables in their diet or what, but they'll come along and just nibble at these plants. So by putting a current that just goes right along the front of the tank, both circulate water, which has been known to help with cyanobacteria. Sometimes in stagnant areas of water and in a big volume of water, you need a lot of different things moving around to really get all the water circulated. But in stagnant areas, you could potentially get a buildup of cyanobacteria. So I wanted to kind of make sure that there's a good flow through here. The other thing is picking at the plants and stuff like that. So with that current right through here, they can't sit there long enough because they just get blown around. So they're actually not able to just sit there and casually pick at those plants. They usually will swim up through the current. And aggression too kind of works the same way. When they're getting chased and stuff, a lot of times whoever's getting chased will just kind of swim into the current, and the other fish can't turn to like give them that shoulder that they tend to do when they're being aggressive with one another. I think a lot of the other fish really kind of enjoy getting in that current and swimming around too, because especially the rainbows, I'll see them and they're just kind of staying in place, but getting right up to it and swimming as fast as they can. So it's pretty fun. Okay, so I can't put it off any longer. I'm going to do my water change and plant these plants. I'll be with you in a minute. Alright, so here's a cool trick that you may or may not know about. I thought it was neat. So you want to start a siphon, but all you have is gravity. So this tank's pretty tall, so I can get away with this. This will actually send the water quite a ways, but what you do is you just fill it up. So you hold the little sand sweeper or whatever like this, and you kind of get some water in there. You let it fill all the way up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, I'm going to lift it up. The water's going to pour down the hose, and before it gets done, I'm going to fill it up again, and boom. Water's running all the way out to my yard. And a nice productive little siphon there. This is why having a tile floor has been awesome. That's something else that was kind of new last year when I put this tank together, is we just installed this tile floor. It looks like wood, but it's actually tile. And I can sling water all over it, but no consequences. Bench is wood though, need to dry that off. Draining the tank in the 210 takes so long. What I usually do is I'll do a bucket water change with my other systems. And I've found that I've got plenty of time to kind of go through and do a really basic water change, scrape the glass, kind of inspect and see if there's anything I need to deal with. Maybe pluck a plant if it's growing where I don't want it to. I can do all that in the time it takes to drain down the tank for like a 20% water change on the 210. And that's it. 1 year with this aquarium. It's been a great experience having a larger tank to mess with. I really don't think I'm going to stock much more in there, at least in the short term. I'm kind of just waiting to see how some things play out. With the stocking choices that I've made, it is really tough to find big fish that don't destroy plants. That's probably been my most difficult thing to overcome with this tank. My other concern is that the rainbows, even though they're quite large, full-grown adult specimens, they might not be big enough once the Beischer gets full-grown. And I'm not sure, it depends on how long-lived the two different ones are. I know the Beischers can live for any number of years, for quite a long time. And this one's probably, well, he's at least 1 year old, maybe 2 years old. I'm not sure how long it took him to get to the size where I purchased him. Maybe just a few months. So my guess is about maybe 1.5 years old. So he has potential to get, I'd say he's at least 18 inches now. I think full grown, they're between 18 to 24 inches, and then they just start getting wider and stuff. So I don't think we're really at the full growth of Mr. Tubes. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how big Mr. Tubes gets. But even though I don't see him a lot, the tank is sort of centered around him. Like, he was sort of that central species, a really large fish that you can at least possibly keep with planted tanks. Now, even he could kind of rip them up, kind of thrashing through plants and stuff like that, but he doesn't actively pick at anything, and I think that's, or dig, and that's sort of the big difference. It's been interesting too, the electric blue Ancaras have made it twice, 2 or 3 times now. I know for sure twice, and I think a third time I saw they were doing something similar. They'll start kind of doing this mating behavior where they'll they'll clean an area somewhere in the tank, usually around this log. And then pretty soon they're defending it pretty ardently against anybody that comes around. And then I see them doing the pass. They just take turns doing little passes over the surface, you know, obviously spreading eggs and then fertilizing the eggs. I've yet to see anything out of it, and I don't imagine fry would survive in this tank very long at all. Although it is possible that they could guard them to some degree. I'm not sure how. I haven't really done any research as to how good of parents these guys are, or if they would just eat the fry right away, or I don't know, or protect them kind of like rams protect their fry. I don't know which one they do. So if I could put something removable in there and then sort of trick them into spawning on it somehow, then I could actually take it and remove it. Right now the stuff that they're using is like too big. It's too big a piece of the aquarium to even pull out easily. But having this tank has been pretty fun. It has altered the way I do my water changes and quite a bit of the maintenance routine. Actually, what I've been doing is downstairs, like in the time that it takes to drain this, I can do water changes on all the other aquariums. I got at least plenty of time to do, you know, something similar for this one. But I can drain and refill them in the time that it takes this thing just to drain down using gravity. But it works out pretty well. I do my downstairs water changes 1 week, and then I do the upstairs water changes the next week, and nothing goes more than 2 weeks. Most of my tanks are really, really stable, and so, you know, a little 2-week run without a water change isn't too bad. If it looks like something's starting to kind of fall off the wagon or looking a little shaky, I'll give it an extra water change, you know, sometime during the week. But if you guys have any questions about this tank, if you want to know anything that I've done with it, just leave me a question down below. There's also a playlist where I've included every video where this tank is sort of the hero, and you'll be able to catch that at the end of this video. Until next time, follow your bliss, keep a clean tank, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. They have potential for Hey YouTube, this is Hey guys, so so today's a typical maintenance day. One thing that's okay. So around this time, I sneezed.